Hi everyone, I hope you're having a great week. I am here to do a wrap-up video for Q2 of Historathon, but before I get into that, I first just want to apologize for being a terrible booktuber and for being a terrible host for Historathon. If you've been following my channel, you'll have noticed that I have not filmed a video in a few months, and I don't want to give excuses. But it has been difficult to find the time towards the beginning of the past 3 months, and then the mental space towards the later bits. My husband and I were in the process of buying a place back in February. That didn't go through, but we still had to move out of our last place. So we were in the it was just a very busy time packing, getting things into storage, moving into here, and then we did find a new place, which is currently going through the works. So really we're just waiting for a move-in date. So we'll start the process again with moving, hopefully very soon. But yeah, so I just wanted to apologize. That's where I've been. And we're currently living with my husband's mother. She's been so helpful to us the past few months, and I'm just really grateful for her. But yeah, so this is my current setup for now. And yeah, anyways, let's talk books. So for Q2 of Historathon, this is my favorite time period to read about. Well, Q1 is also a favorite as well because I do very much enjoy prehistory, but I'm an amateur medieval history fan. I particularly love reading about the Plantagenets and medieval England, and their dynastic and power struggles with the Capetians in France, which leads me to the first book that I want to talk about. This is Justine Fernhaber Baker's House of Lilies, and I believe this was published this year. In fact, I'm certain it was published this year in the UK, and I think it's available in the US now. But I was so very much excited when I saw that this was being published. Often when I'm reading about the Plantagenets, the Capetians are up front and center. A lot of the Plantagenet kings and queens had power struggles and land struggles, and with the Capetians there was that constant conflict between the two. So I often found myself wanting to read a book on the Capetians from their point of view, and this book just delivers just that. So Justine Fernhaber Baker starts out this book discussing the history of West Francia, setting the scene, the context for the Capetians. So discussing the Carolingians, and then ultimately how they traded power with another dynastic line called the Robertians, and ultimately how these Robertians established a firm foothold and a continuous line. So Hugh Capet was one of these Robertians who Capet lends his name to the Capetian dynasty in the late 10th century. So I really appreciated the background knowledge for the Capetian line after this point. And as I say, this is a very slim book. It's 300 pages and it covers a 300-year, well, mainly a 300-year history, but I think she does a great job of summarizing and including what needed to be included for what she wanted to deliver, giving this sweeping overview of the dynasty until ultimately the direct line dies out and the Valois dynasty comes into power. So she has another book that I really want to read. The book that she wrote previously is called The Jacquerie, which is a revolt that happened in France, and I really want to get my hands on this, especially after reading this and seeing what she has to deliver. But yeah, really enjoyed this book. If you want to read about medieval France, definitely recommend this. So yeah. The second book that I finished for Q2 of Historathon is a biography on Thomas Becket by John Guy. And this was a buddy read with John David, a fellow co-host of Historathon. And I really enjoyed this biography. I haven't read a standalone biography on Thomas Becket before. Most of the knowledge that I have from him is reading about biographies on Henry II and learning about their relationship with one another. And I think John Guy diverges his beliefs about their relationship from other views that are out there. The books that I've read previously have a pretty similar narrative. Thomas and Henry were very friendly, best of friends until he became the Archbishop of Canterbury, and then there was this struggle between the two to protect, the rights of the church and Henry's rights as the King of England. But as I say, John Guy takes has a very different understanding. The way he interprets the resources is that there's so not necessarily been this fond relationship between the two. Henry has always, whatever Henry wanted, Henry got, and Thomas understood this. So it almost seemed like Thomas was always walking a tightrope with him. I really enjoyed this biography as well for understanding his upbringing and his background. Thomas, as John Guy suggests, wasn't a very studious or very applied student. He did what he could to get by, but what really drove him was his desire to have possessions and really excel himself up the social ladder and be accepted by those who were of a higher social standing than him. However, this also, I really enjoyed his discussion of the Archbishop Theobald, who was Thomas's mentor. Theobald had a very similar struggle that Thomas would have, but Theobald's struggle was with King Stephen during the anarchy. And I think this solidified or was very formational for Thomas in his future struggles with Henry to, give him the rationale to protect the church and be as obstinate as he was against Henry. In short, I really enjoyed this biography because it gave me an understanding of the more human side of Thomas. He made mistakes. He was prone to rash behavior. He was very stubborn, but he was also very steadfast. And I just really enjoyed this biography for giving a very well-rounded picture of him. Those were the two books that I finished for Q2 of Historathon. I wish I could have read more for this time period. There were some books that I wanted to include. Ravenna, unfortunately, I didn't read. I didn't get to finish The House of Beaufort by Nathan Amen, but these are books that I might read later throughout the year. I just won't be able to read them for Historathon. One book that I am currently in the process of reading is The Cross and the Crescent by Richard Fletcher. And if you're not familiar with it, it's a very slim volume, and it just looks at the relationship between the Christian states and Muslim states from the inception of Islam up until the European formation. Apologies. I am only a couple of pages in, so I don't really have a view that I can share yet, but hopefully I'll finish it this week. It is very small. I did want to do a Q3 video for you, but I am still waiting for 2 books to arrive in the post, but I'll just give you a quick sneak peek of what I do plan on reading. One of the first books that I plan on reading is David McCullough's 1776. This was one that I wanted to read last year, but it didn't make the cut. I haven't read anything on the Revolutionary War in a very long while, so I'm looking forward to reading this. I've also got The Hangman's Executioner on audiobook, another book that I wanted to read last year, but it didn't make the cut. I think I started to read it, but I just didn't finish it. I've got it in an audiobook format, so I plan on listening to it when I commute to work. And then the book that I've got on the way is C.V. Wedgwood's The 30 Years' War, and I'm really looking forward to this one. I read her book called A Coffin for King Charles, and I thought this was excellent. So I'm really looking forward to what she has to say on the 30 Years' War. Anyways, those were the books that I read specifically for quarter two. It wasn't vast, as you'll be able to guess from what I just showed you, but I do plan on reading more for Q3, filming more for Q3, and I'm gonna do a video shortly on Q3. But there were also some books that I read the past couple of months that fiction and other nonfiction that I just want to share with you. So hold this space and look out for my next video. Anyways, I hope you all have a very wonderful week ahead, and bye for now, BookTube.